Hey guys, welcome back for part 3 of our refreshing Flathead on a budget series. Today we're going to kind of finish up the bottom end. We're going to get a pan seal back on and we're going to start doing a little paint work. I don't think you guys are going to want to miss this one. Let's get into it. So one of the first things we want to do when we are cracking into the pan here, the bottom end, is we're looking at this webbing. And I did that kind of before the last video, but I didn't explain it. So here it is. This webbing right here, we're looking at that for cracks. That's one of the spots these will crack if they sit with water in them and they freeze and all of that. This one looks great. No issues, no cracks that I can see. Everything looks awesome. So we checked our mains, we checked our connecting rod caps, the bearings, everything looks really good. So for this one, where we kind of started is I pulled off this pickup screen, had a little bit of sludge on it, nothing crazy, but you can see it's blocked off a little bit there. We're going to get all that cleaned up. We don't need anything slowing down oil flow. So we'll get that screen cleaned out. We'll use a little, some simple green or some diesel fuel or something like that, degreaser. Get that cleaned up, put it back in. We're going to clean up our gasket surface here. And then we're going to clean up that oil pan, get the sludge out, get it ready to go, get it cleaned up on the outside and ready for paint. So let's get going on that. Decided to fire up the ultrasonic cleaner and put the screen and then the rear pan brace in there and get them cleaned up. A couple nuts and bolts too. Pretty handy little tool to have. I went ahead and filled her up with simple green. Then I added some purple power to the mix. Get it all the good stuff, Now I went ahead and drained the hot cleaning solution, some of it, into that oil pan. Let that soak for a bit. Then I got started on cleaning up the block, just kind of a little final prep here. We're going to get some paint on it. I want to start working with a clean surface. So we're going to start painting it, and the customer, my buddy Rocky here, he wants Chevy orange on it. Don't tell anybody. Just teasing Rocky. It actually looks pretty good. I'll be honest, it looks half decent on there. So we got it all cleaned up and got it masked up, and then did a little spritzing. Next up, I'm going to pull the timing cover here. I'm going to be really careful not to move the crank or the distributor when I do so. I don't want to really change the timing. It's not like we can't reset the timing later, but I'd rather not if I don't have to. So pop that off. We're going to get that cleaned up. We're going to get the face of the block there cleaned up. And then a little more paint spritzing. Now when you install these new rope seals, you want to use a little assembly lube on them, and then you want to cut the excess off. That'll get it, just, you want it right flush with the surface there on both sides. Next up, we're going to do a little wax and grease remover, and then get a little paint on this thing. Then we'll install the seal. Next up, I'm going to clean up the front crank pulley there. I didn't feel like removing it. It's not really necessary to remove for this kind of a job. Wire wheeled it up a little bit, so I'll be able to put some black on that later. And then right now I'm putting some assembly lube, both in the channel for the rope seal where the camshaft rides, and then on the camshaft gear as well. And now I'm rubbing a little RTV around where the gasket's gonna go. Everybody has their own little methods for gaskets and RTV. For me, I like to put some on the surface I'm gonna be sticking a gasket to first, just a thin layer. Then I put the gasket on, kind of glue it down. Then I'll put some on the other side of the gasket, and maybe a little bit on the part I'm putting on, and then just kind of sandwich it all together. You want to do really thin layers if you're doing it the way I do it. You don't want to use a bunch. Some guys don't use a gasket at all. They just put a bead on there and then smesh it down. I like to use the gasket. I think it holds up a little bit better. Leaks a little bit less. But I prefer to use RTV on each of those layers, though. I think it ends up keeping the leaks away longer. But face it, it's a Ford Flathead. It's got factory leaks, so it's just going to be what it's going to be. Now it's kind of handy to use a punch here just to help you pry that cover up, because you're using a new rope seal, and that rope seal needs to compress a little bit against the surface of the oil slinger there. So I use a little skinny punch and just kind of pry it up gently. Don't gall your threads or anything. And then as you saw, I left the ends long on those ropes. I'm going to cut them off in place. You can cut them off beforehand if you want to also. As you can see, there's a little bit of squeeze out down in there. What I'll do is I'll dust a little more orange in over that later when I get to that point. Went ahead and got our new replacement Speedway water pumps painted. Now doing the same process on the gaskets for that. I got some RTV on the block, got some on the gasket. Gonna stick the gasket down, then put some on the back side of the gasket, and then stick the pump down. Again, thin coats. You don't want a bunch of RTV squeezing in, because it'll squeeze into the block, it'll gum stuff up, it'll mess things up. You don't want too much RTV. You want even coverage, thin coverage. Remember, you're gonna tighten that thing down, so it's gonna squeeze down. You want the RTV to glue and fill any little voids, any imperfections, but you do not need a ton of it. More is not better. So, thin coats. Little tech tip. When you have a gasket that doesn't fit quite right or isn't lining up with the bolt holes quite right, bolt it down first. See how that's not lining up? The paper can morph and stretch in the packaging over time when they sit on the shelf. And if you bolt it down, you can kind of stretch it back into shape and get it where it's supposed to be. We got engine starting to look good. Well, now I got to start on probably my least favorite part of every engine refresh, and that's the oil pan. I tell you what, I get so tired of all the crusty, greasy junk, and that while it is a great transformation, I hate dealing with the oil pans. Just sticky, sludgy crap that sticks to everything. That said, some good degreaser, some wire wheels, a few rounds, just kind of stay after it. It'll get there eventually. It's pretty nice when it's all done. One thing you might notice a little differently on this oil pan is I did not put RTV on the downhill side of the gasket, I guess technically. It's uphill to us right now because the motor's upside down. I did, however, put a liberal layer on the pan itself, and just because this pan has those little ribs going around it, this is the big dump out truck type pan. I just like to get a nice layer in those ribs. It's just preference again. A lot of ways to skin that cat, but that's the way I did it. So that's why there's no RTV on the gasket, just so you know. And some guys will just leave no RTV between two of the surfaces on the pan, makes the pan easier to remove. I don't like oil pan leaks though. Same goes for valve cover gaskets on overhead valve engines. But that's a little different because it's less steady contact with oil as the oil pan. I don't like oil leaks. I try to avoid them as much as I can, put as much effort as I can into not having them, even though they're inevitable. But that's the reason why. Man, this thing's looking good. In case you were wondering, yeah, there is torque specs for oil pan bolts. It's like 15 to 18 pounds. I know what that feels like. I don't waste my time trying to do that. Well, let's get the motor flipped back over. This is coming to a close here on part 3 of refreshing a flathead on a budget. Things starting to look real pretty. I appreciate you guys watching, and in part 4 we're gonna get the heads done, get them back on, torque down, and we'll get this thing on the run stand and kind of ready to go for cracking it off. Few little things left to do, but who knows, by the end of part 4 we might have a running flathead. You're going to want to stay tuned. Hit the subscribe button. It's right down below the video there. Subscribing is free, and that'll make a YouTube alert you when the next video is done. Hit that like button. Appreciate you guys. I'll catch you on the next one. Later.